Hello and welcome to Verbaling. I'm teacher Oakley, and in the next hour, we're going to be continuing our series of courses, our series of classes, rather, looking at business English. These classes mostly consist of conversations about various aspects of business in the workplace. I will be introducing some vocabulary, and occasionally I introduce a little of related grammar. Today's topic of our business English class is workplace atmosphere. For those of you who are working men and women, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Is it a fun place to work? Is it a stressful place to work? Is it high pressure? Whatever. For those of you who are maybe still students, you know, classrooms can have an atmosphere, different, well, so you might be able to get the idea from that. Okay, welcome to the class, Javier. How are you today?
Good. You? How are you?
I'm okay. Thanks. A little bit under the weather, but okay. Welcome to the class. And Sasha, hello.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Hi.
Meh, meh.
Meh.
So,
Yeah,
meh.
that's perfect. Yeah, that's how I
A
am.
question about this phrase, under the weather. It means sick or just sad, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It can mean it definitely can mean a little bit sick, or it can mean kind of depressed a little. It can, because when you feel depressed, sometimes you kind of have physical aspects of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I yeah, I have like a really I cut my knee a couple weeks ago, and so I'm depressed about it. So actually, when I use it, I actually mean both those things. For example,
It can be mixed as well.
yeah, I cut my knee and it's infected, and I took antibiotics and it seemed to be healing and everything seemed to be better, and then it opened up the tiniest little wound and it got all infected again. So it's like 3 weeks I've been dealing with this. Makes me feel a little, my body's obviously a little overextended. I feel a little weak and tired. I don't have much of an appetite. So I feel a little physically not good. And I'm also depressed. Why won't I heal up? What's wrong with me?
Maybe it's because of environment that not you used
Yeah.
to. How long have you lived?
Oh, I've lived here plenty long enough to get used to it. But you have a very solid point. In America, wounds like that I would never bother me, but here it's so hot and damp all the time that infections, a mosquito bite can turn into a blood infection in 3 days. It's really ridiculous. It's like living in a petri dish, Sasha.
What is that?
A petri dish?
Yeah.
Okay. When you see scientists, they try to grow mold and fungi and bacteria and such. They do it in a closed environment with a special round dish. They put a cover on it, the atmosphere.
Glass. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like living in a petri dish. Javier, I'm an American, but I live in the Philippines now, and it's rainy season and it's humid every day. The humidity is like 90 to 100% every day. And it's nice and warm. Exactly what bacteria thrive on. And I think that's part of the problem.
That's why. That sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, it is a little. So anyway, there you go. That's why I'm a little under the weather. So if I'm not as cheerful as normal. I'm moderately less cheerful than normal. Mustafa, welcome to the class. Hello.
Hello, teacher. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Nice to have you aboard. Okay. Let's. I have an interesting group of quotes that I would like to share with you guys and have you give your opinion about these. I'm very interested to do that. Quotes about basically workplace atmosphere, and how these things that affect workplace atmosphere. I would love to get you guys to share your opinions. I'm going to screen share this so you can read them as well. Javier, starting with you, number one, go ahead and read it, please. Number one, do you agree or disagree with the statement?
Says paying people at the same level in the company at different rates of pay introduces competitiveness and raises productivity.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand paying people at the same level.
Yeah, Javier, I had to read it twice, too.
Paying people at the same level in the company at the different rates.
Right.
What is the meaning of different rates? I know what is rate, but
you and I at the same level in the company, we have exactly the same position. You and I are both like team leaders, let's say, for example. We both have a team of 12 people. We're both doing the same job. But you get paid 20% more than I do. Different rates of pay. Rate of pay is how much money you're paid. It's your rate of pay. All right. So the idea here is by paying you and I differently to do the same job, that this would introduce or foster or help competitiveness and raise productivity.
I think this could be a good idea.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that can make you can give you motivation to get a better rate.
Okay, Javier, I have to ask a very relevant question. In the United States, for example, even though I'm working with my best friends, I would not know how much they're making, even if we did have the same job. I would never know. I would never tell them how much I was making. They would never tell me. It's just not normal. It's not done. How about in your country? Do people tell how much they're making to their coworkers, colleagues?
No, it's not very. Most of the time, I notice that the people keep quiet about that. But I know that when they know about the other price, I mean about the other people, the salary of the other people. Sometimes I notice like they get angry, or there's some I don't know, some frustration because they have the same level.
Right. So
I mean, I think this idea is good, but if really the company makes really the difference in the competitiveness, well, in that way.
Yeah, well, there you go. It kind of depends how it's implemented, right?
Yeah.
If a person really does work harder and makes more money, okay. If they're rewarded for being more innovative or being a better manager, getting better numbers, sure. But if a person gets more money because they golf with the boss on Saturday afternoon,
yeah, no, that's really bad. I think that makes very bad the work of the person.
Okay, all right. If it's really commiserate with their worth or value, commiserate equals. And I know you corrected yourself, and you were right to do so. Don't say price when it comes to salary. You corrected and said salary, and good for you. All right, good job. Okay. Okay. Mustafa, good point. Okay, let me quickly welcome Ken to the class. Hi, Ken.
Yes, hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're looking at these quotes and then discussing how much you agree or disagree with them. The topic is workplace atmosphere. So I want you to also think about how it would affect the workplace atmosphere. Sasha, can you read number 2?
Job insecurity encourages people to work harder.
What do you think?
Job insecurity, it's like the lose job.
Yeah, your job security refers to the concept of how likely you are or not likely to lose your job. For example, usually people who work, civil servants who work for the government, they have really strong job security. They can't be fired virtually.
I guarantee that you will have your job.
Yeah. So the opposite. Yeah, job insecurity
No,
means you
job
don't.
security is guaranteed, and insecurity
Yeah,
is
the opposite.
uh,
You never know when the axe will fall. The axe will fall means you will get fired. Somebody
yes.
gives you the axe, they get fired.
It's a good point, especially at crisis time, at the time where crisis in the country and work hard to find. So yeah, people I guess try to work harder because they are afraid of get fired.
Yeah, I think you have a point when it is a matter of national economics. I think you're right. However, if the economy's great and this is the company policy, well,
And yeah, as well as many, for instance, at Apple, I suppose many people would like to work in this company, so the people work harder to be there as
absolutely.
well. Well,
Right. I, but I think it can have an opposite effect. If the economy's booming, there's plenty of jobs, and your boss basically, is trying. I had a boss like this. He actually told me this was his philosophy, and it kind of blew me away. I understand what you're saying, and I think you have a valid point. If there's 50% unemployment, then people are going to try to work harder. They can't afford to lose their job. They may not get another one. But okay, my story. I had a boss, no joke. His philosophy was, look, I'm going to give my employees a goal. I'm going to tell them they must reach this goal. The goal will be 150% of what I think they can possibly do. His philosophy being that the people will achieve maybe 120% because they're worried about losing their job. So that means he has to hire 5 employees instead of 6 employees, and he's raised productivity, he's raised his profit. That was his philosophy. But the downside to that is, first of all, even if you did 120% of your normal job, you would feel very, very frustrated that you couldn't do what your assigned goal was, which would be 150%. And secondly, there are plenty of jobs around. So why be stressed every single day? Again, thinking about workplace atmosphere. Why be totally stressed to try to reach an unreachable goal, which is actually impossible? You know it's impossible. And be stressed every day when all you have to do is walk out the door and get another job. Just really didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand that philosophy. Under the circumstances of there's very low unemployment and lots of new businesses coming to town, it seemed like a stupid philosophy to me. in those circumstances at least. Yeah. Okay, Mustafa, what's your point there?
My point is, teacher, like if we work in a place like this where job insecurity, maybe that will increase the productivity of employees. But however, like you can deal with that by increasing the salary and encourage them to do and work harder. Because we as a human, like we always look like for a job, like we need certainty, we need to be in a safe zone, we need a job that keep us safe in the future maybe. So maybe this is has a weak point. Like if I feel myself at any point I'm gonna be fired. So this is maybe not a good idea. And I can deal with that by salary. I can increase the productivity of the person. So yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. The other thing is job insecurity wears on you. It really does. I've worked under this circumstance, and it wears on you. It makes you depressed. It makes everybody, the workplace atmosphere becomes so hard. Everyone's depressed. No one can reach the goals that are given to them. It's not fun. And it's something that wears on you over time. Long stress periods over long periods of time. You just can't handle it. Human beings weren't made to do that, really. I don't think. So I would agree. Mustafa, look at number 3, kind of going along with what you're saying.
Okay, people want to feel their job is important.
Yeah, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. People want to feel their job is important.
Have you ever heard anybody say,
Uh,
my job is meaningless?
um, like this is like related to the company itself. Like when they maybe you see they increase your salary, maybe they appreciate what you have done from work. So you feel like yourself is important, and you feel your job is important for them. And this is maybe from a company perspective,
Mm-hmm.
from a
Uh,
company's perspective.
Mustafa, have you ever heard the phrase make work? Oh, my boss just had me doing make
Like
work all day.
no.
Okay. This is the idea that there's really nothing for you to do as an employee. So your boss just makes up something for you to do. In the military, for example, they'll have you dig a hole with a spoon and then fill it back up again with a fork, just to keep you busy and out of trouble. That's it. The military is famous for make work, but also in companies. You'd be asked to do things that not normally part of your job, just make work. It doesn't really need to be done. It doesn't really produce anything. Basically valueless work. It's very frustrating, and I don't know anybody who's happy about it, ever.
Yeah,
Yes, Javier.
exactly.
Yes.
Now I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, teacher. Sorry.
No. That's the idea. I mean, I've seen this in action before, and nobody's happy to be doing make work. They know they're just being kept busy, doing
Yeah,
nothing really of any value. They know it. People aren't stupid, and it's very
I agree with you.
demeaning.
I agree with you. I
It's kind of
agree.
demeaning.
Like I see.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said. Right. Okay. Ken, number 4.
Okay, people need continuous praise and encouragement to prevent
Oh,
from the.
okay. Number 4.
Number four, sorry. Few people are capable of managing themselves. They need firm management from above.
What do you think? Agree or disagree? What do you think of that?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I heard some student talented people to their manager do and everything to
S-
organize.
Sorry, that wasn't.
I heard some stars and talented people tend to be like that. They are very bad at managing the schedule or something. So their
Time
manager
management.
do everything about scheduling, buying tickets, or yeah, that's kind of.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, okay. Okay, now notice, just to point out, this doesn't say a few people. When it says, okay, without an article, a few people.
All people, few people
Yeah,
means none.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. It's up
Here,
to the people. Yeah, not all.
okay,
Yeah,
right.
some people can manage themselves very well. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a way too general statement. Right, right. You got to understand the English here. If it said a few people or only a few people are capable of managing themselves, that would mean at least some people could manage themselves. With no article here, the English really says, you're right, Ken. Basically, they're saying nobody is capable of managing themselves, which of course is ridiculous. Because
Yeah.
there are plenty of people who work for themselves, for example. So
Right.
obviously they can manage themselves. So it's a kind of a ridiculous statement. Some people definitely need a firm hand. I would agree. Maybe people right out of school, they have no idea about what's supposed to happen at work or whatever. They need a firm hand. They need some firm management. But I don't think everybody. Really broad statement there. Okay, Javier, number 6. Interesting one.
5.
Number 5. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes, 5.
People need continuous praise and encouragement to prevent them from slacking off. Yeah, I think that is. I agree with that because because anyone needs motivation and something to pay, not just the money.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Everyone? Most people.
Well, not everyone, but well, I don't know. I think depends on the meaning of praise, because could be like well, no, not everyone.
Not everyone, but many. Yeah, I agree. Javier, I really stupid. I was a team leader in a business processing company, and I needed to get my team numbers up. So I instituted a motivational program. Really weak and stupid. But every time somebody got a sale or a save, in our case, whatever, the target, what you're trying to, every time somebody achieved the goal, I gave them a candy. And I mean a candy worth like 2 cents, like almost worth nothing. The smallest, almost nothing. But I gave it to them in front of the other people in the group. Congratulations, Roberto! You win a chocolate-covered cherry. Good for you. And I threw it to them from my seat. Unbelievably, guess what? It worked. Who cares, man? It doesn't take a lot, is my point. Just a little recognition, really. It doesn't take a whole lot. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be monetary. Is my other point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any kind of motivation could work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to throw money at people to make them work harder, I think is the point. I've seen, Mustafa, it is about psychology. I've seen plenty of different studies with maybe different focus, but the theme that I've seen in many of these workplace studies is that people stay at their jobs not because of the boss, not because of liking the job, not because of the challenges. all those are reasons some people stay at the job. But what do you think? Can anybody guess what is the biggest reason by
Salary?
far? No, it's not the salary, actually. You would think so. I didn't mention the salary because I knew somebody would guess that.
Emotional commitment to the company.
Actually, in these studies that I've seen, it's their friends. They don't leave the company because their friends work at the company. And their personal relationships with coworkers is really the #1 reason. Consistently, different studies I've seen. It makes perfect sense to me if I consider it in comparison to my real life experience. Because you will see this happen time and again. I don't know, at least I have. When one person from a group, a peer group, group of workers quits, and then boom, 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 boom. You keep the same people on your team, and then one person quits, and then suddenly you lose 3 or 4. It happens a lot. It's very seldom that you lose just one person from a group. Yeah, at least in my experience, maybe you guys haven't experienced the same thing, or maybe it's different in different fields. I don't know. I don't. But in my experience, this is a very common phenomena. You lose one, and you lose 3 or 4. Okay. Sasha, #6. Well, yeah.
Peer group recognition means more to people than management recognition.
Well, what do you think?
What is recognition?
Okay. To be recognized, obviously, it has a much more simple verb meaning. I recognized Tom Cruise walking down the street. Okay. Oh, I know who he is. But in this case, recognition means to be formally, publicly acknowledged as doing a great job. Well, okay. Well, there's negative recognition as well, I suppose, but usually we mean it positively. Usually it's to be recognized. For example, receiving an award in front of a group of people, to have a meeting at work in which you're okay, Sasha, #1 salesman of the month. Let's everybody give a round of applause to Sasha. Great job. Like that.
So it's like a previous, like praise and encouragement.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Basically, what I was talking about by throwing candy to my team members, I was recognizing them and making a little bit of a big deal. I was saying, "Oh, good job! You did it. Here you go. Here's a chocolate." Basically, that's exactly what I was doing. Okay, so what do you think? Peer
Sure,
group.
sure, it's true, and especially it's very common in sport, in any sport, when the coach he have to do the same
Okay.
to athletes to encourage and they to encourage them even then don't create any success.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, in some things more than others. I worked as a chef for many years, and believe me, you could care less what your owner or boss has to say about your dishes, your food, your style. You could care less, really. It's all about what other chefs say about you. That's important. Absolutely. I think in many, it's probably different in different careers, but yeah, I think that's probably true. Okay, we're gonna jump on Let's try another little quick vocabulary kind of exercise here. Let's do a little brainstorming. Mustafa, what are some adjectives that could describe a work atmosphere?
Stressful.
Yeah, most certainly. Absolutely, stressful is a big one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Not recommended, but yes, this is a very common one. All right. What would make a work atmosphere stressful, for example? Many things, obviously, are possible, but just can you give me an example?
When you have like that kind of boss that like to bus around and give you an order and keep tracking you everywhere to make sure that you are doing your work, that make the work stressful. And yeah,
Yeah.
this is one reason.
Okay. Okay. Do you know what micromanaging is?
Yeah, I know. You
Yeah.
mentioned that before. It's I was looking for this because I forgot it.
Yeah. Well, what you just said reminded me of it. And your boss is looking over your shoulder all the time. Micromanaging. Absolutely. Yeah, you asked management recognition. Mustafa, just very basic. If you're ever a manager, you should always publicly recognize somebody. So if you're going to tell somebody they did a good job, don't do it in your office. All right? Do it in front of the team. Do it in front of other people.
Okay.
But if you're going to discipline them, if you're going to tell them that he needs to work harder or discipline him, then you should not do that. Public shaming is not a good idea. In my opinion, this is totally my opinion, but in my opinion, praise in public, berate, punish, all of those negative things, do that in private.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, it makes it very stressful. Speaking of stressful, when managers publicly shame and blame and criticize employees, that helps add to the old stress level for sure. You never know when you're going to be publicly humiliated by your boss. Absolutely, that's stressful. Speaking of stressful, Ken, what is another work atmosphere? What's another adjective?
Tense.
What? Tense?
Tense.
A tense atmosphere? Okay, what could be an example of that?
For example, the norm or competition happens in some field.
Yeah, okay.
Or micromanagement, control free.
So I'm curious if you mean tense is a negative thing, because I think.
But the competitive company, kind of intentionally the workers' competition, for the sales, for raise up their sales.
Mm-hmm.
So for the company, it could be positive, but yeah, vice versa.
Okay, because I don't think stressful is definitely always negative. I think stressful is a negative word, but tense, I don't think it has to be negative.
Yes, it is. If the people spend a long time vacation and they totally relax, and but if it is too long, sometimes we need to some tense.
Yeah, I mean, if there's deadlines and things like that, right? That can make a tense atmosphere in the office as it approaches the deadline, and your team has to put something together. The atmosphere will become more tense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes people get high for the tense actually.
Actually, you're absolutely correct. I mentioned I worked in restaurants and hotels. I was a chef. The atmosphere in the kitchen is very tense. It's very, very nerve-wrackingly tense, but not necessarily stressful. It's very tense because you have deadlines with each and every dinner you're preparing. You're going to do 300 deadlines tonight. like that. And each one of your customers is going to be angry if you mess it up or you take too long. So it's very tense, but not necessarily bad. Or Sasha, you know, he mentioned competitive sports, professional sports. Obviously, that's the whole idea of sports, is to be tense and competitive. So tense, not necessarily bad. Oh, okay. Javier, can you think of another adjective that can describe a work atmosphere?
Something like busy, like a lot of movement.
Okay. Okay.
I don't find another word to describe that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, can anybody else help? I know what you mean. You don't. Busy, sort of a general word. You're talking about lots of simultaneous activity. Hectic? No, that's a good word. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure. Do you know hectic,
No,
Javier?
no, I'm translating.
No, that's a good one. That would definitely describe work atmosphere for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Yeah.
Hectic. Okay, that's a good one. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Many companies have a hectic atmosphere as it approaches, for example, Christmas or the holidays. A lot of companies sell more, just well-known fact, before the holidays. So maybe things will get hectic. Or seasonal. You know, seasonal companies, seasonal businesses. Many businesses are seasonal. There'll be a hectic time of year.
And especially the restaurants, right?
Yeah, restaurants are definitely it's always hectic. No, it's not always hectic. Yeah, restaurants it can be dead, you know, can be completely dead, or extremely hectic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, hectic in the office today. All right. Sasha, can you give me another adjective that maybe work atmosphere could describe?
Maybe a positive one, um,
Okay.
like friendly,
Okay.
friendly atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. They don't all have to be negative or tense or anything. Sure. A positive atmosphere, and that does co-locate with the word. Friendly. It's possible, even fun. Believe it or not.
When people, yeah, when a whole collective get along.
Yeah. All right.
It's great.
Relax. Yeah.
I worked at a couple of places where everybody get along. It's amazing.
Yeah. It is. It's amazing how much easier it is.
It's so much easier. It's like you
Yeah.
go to work and you have a good mood.
Yeah. And the job's just easier when everybody's working
yeah.
together, and I agree. Yeah, I think this is the ideal atmosphere, really.
Yes, it's idea.
What you really want. Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna look at a report, which hopefully will be, we're gonna look at a dangerous work atmosphere is what we're gonna look at, or talking about dangerous atmospheres. We're going to use practice using reference devices. Of course, you guys, I'm sure you know pronouns are reference devices. His refers to a man. His, possessive, refers to a man's ownership of something. Of course, we refer to things that we've already mentioned. That's what reference devices do. The pronouns, of course, are obvious reference devices, but I want to take a little time to briefly look at other types of reference devices like these. The following: the former, or the latter, the same, themselves. Perhaps, well, they's a pronoun. This, that, these. Okay, these demonstratives can also be reflexive pronouns like themselves. Okay, let's see if we can use some of these properly. If you can remember them, I can scroll up if you need me to. All right, let's go ahead and try this out. Mustafa, I'm going to have you start. Go ahead and...
Okay. This report summarized trends in fatal workplace accidents and work-related stress during the period 1990 to 2003. While blank fell in Britain from 350 in 1990 to 180 in 2003. And through what, teacher? I have read.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I think they just can you scroll down? Just a little bit. I want to skimming a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta look forward a little bit. Actually, you do, in order to get the correct answer. It would be a little confusing to have they, because I don't know if they means, because you got two things: fatal accidents and work-related stress.
Themselves. We have themselves or not?
No.
Can you scroll up?
Sure. Yeah, I can.
We're gonna look for something. Themselves. Okay, they is the former.
Yeah. Yes. Because then later, after you have the latter here. Okay, there's two things, right? So the former fell in Britain. Okay, which one is the former here, Mustafa? Fatal accidents or work-related stress?
Fatal accident.
Yes, that's the former. The first one stated. First thing stated is could be referred to later as the former, and then the latter. Okay. All right. Okay, Ken, can you take over? Actually, you can start from here. While blank fell, while the former fell.
The former fell in Britain from 350 in 1990 to 180 in 2003. The latter rose during long period from 200,000 cases in 1990 to 450,000 in 2003. During maybe that period, so
Here.
following for same period.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, 1990 to 2003. Is it the same period? The latter rose during the same period. Yeah. From 1990, yes, to 2003. So that is the same period. Okay. Here we're using it to reference a time frame. Time frame, actually. Okay. All right. So very nice device for referencing a time frame. The same period, or the period from blah, blah, blah to blah, blah, blah. Okay. Javier, continuing.
The most pronounced decrease in accidents occurred between the 1990 and 1995, when only 190 took place. During the following years, until 1998, they underwent a slight increase to reach 205. Continue?
Yeah, might as well finish the sentence.
Before falling to an all-time low of just 160 deaths in 2000.
Okay, great job. Be careful of pronunciation of pronounced. Pronounced decrease. By the way, here pronounced is not like pronounce. We're pronouncing English sounds and letters. when you pronounce. Okay. Here is an adjective, the most pronounced decrease. Okay, in this case, what it means is the most dramatic or the biggest change. If something, we can use it as an adjective like this to show a big change, or noticeable, the most noticeable decrease. Okay. All right. And yeah, during the following years, yes, until 1998, that would make perfect sense there. Okay, Mustafa, number 4.
Then rose to 210 in 2001 before decreasing to 180 in 2003.
Okay. Did you have, what did you say? For
I didn't say anything because I only would scroll up to see.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Then I think there is then. So uh, the hmm, the same then I think the same
Mm,
or the following. I'm not sure.
okay. Well, looking back up here, during the following years until 98, they underwent a slight increase to reach 205. They meaning deaths in the workplace, before falling to an all-time low of just 160. They then rose to 210. Again, the deaths is they. They use the same pronoun to reference the material again.
Okay.
All right, and that's perfectly okay to do that in English, by the way. To continue to use, especially the simple pronouns, more than once. It's quite normal. Okay, Ken, can you read this entire paragraph here?
Work-related stories, on the other hand, underwent a constant increase during blank period and shows signs of peaking. The largest increase occurred between 1995 1998 through 9, when the number of cases climbed from 260,000 to 420,000 during following period.
During, okay, we've been talking about work-related deaths up until now. Work-related stress. Okay, underwent a constant increase during
this period.
Okay, could be during this period, or it could be the same period. Either one would actually work here. Okay. Yeah, either one would not change the meaning at all, and would refer, of course, to the period of time, obviously, that they're talking about, from 90 to 2003. Okay, Javier, in conclusion.
In conclusion, the two charts show that while British workplaces are becoming safer, employees feel to be under greater pressure. Employees feel, oh, I forgot the...
Yeah, okay. Employees feel blank to be under greater pressure.
Themselves.
There you go. That's a reflexive pronoun. Employees being obviously more than one person, so we use the plural reflexive, themselves. Also very normal, especially in this circumstances. You would sound actually quite weird to say employees feel employees to be under great pressure. It'd be very strange to repeat. So okay, we use those reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object is the same. I hurt myself. I'm certainly not going to say I hurt me. It sounds weird. Okay. At I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes here. Let's look at the charts that they were.
I have one question.
Shoot, yeah, what's that?
Is there a word that easier to say? Big numbers like this 200. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay. 230,000. That's the only way I know of to say that, Ken.
Okay. I need to say that. Okay. Thank you.
230,000. Yeah, you know, with numbers like 2,300, it's very common to say 2,300. Oh yeah, 230K. Oh, thank you, Javier. Yeah, he's right.
Okay, thank you.
That is possible. It's more slang-like and obviously informal, but yeah, definitely possible. 230K. Right. Anytime you're just going to say thousands, but only thousands, you're not going to talk about hundreds or denominations of 100 or numbers in the hundreds, rather. Right. I forgot about that. 230K. Right. Okay. Fine. Here you go. While we're talking about that, 230 mil for 230 million. He paid 230 mil for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are other ways to say that. I kind of forgot. Okay. So looking at the chart here. Okay. Fatal accidents in the UK. Okay, well, this is kind of interesting. Javier, okay. How do you think this compares to, first of all, how do you think this compares to your country? Are you surprised? First of all, are you surprised by the number of accidents per year? Fatals?
No. Oh. All depends on the size of. I mean, all the country.
Yeah, this is in the UK, United Kingdom. This is how many people were killed at work.
Mm. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
It seems like a lot of people to me too. That's all. Okay, how could you briefly describe this chart in just a couple of sentences? Could you summarize it for me?
In a few years, I think the quality of let's say the quality of the I don't know how to say it. You know, the ISO. This company's ISO 19,000.
Okay. Sorry,
No, I was asking you. You know, what is the ISO 19,000?
Sorry, I'm not understanding. What is that? The what on 19th? What is 19,000? I'm confused.
It's like for quality in the work, like regulation.
For
regulations in the work, that how to work. Then I think in a few years they gain a lot of I don't know, these regulations.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I have no idea. Oh, you're asking if the extra regulations were added in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, in the 90s. I have no idea. Okay, that's a good question. You could ask that question rhetorically. Okay, it's something like, I'm not sure if extra regulations were added in the 1990s. Not 1900s, that was throwing me off. 90s, all right. But the number of fatalities dropped a lot, quite a lot, almost half through the course of the 90s. Yeah. Okay, over the time period of the 90s. All right. Okay, but what I was actually trying to get you to do, that's great, to make a guess, and that was going to be my next question, actually. What I wanted you really to do is explain briefly the chart, something like, okay, we can see from looking at the chart that number of fatal accidents has basically decreased over time. With
Yeah, yeah, you can see that this half of the accidents, the fatal accidents, is actually the half. No, it's a little more than a little less than half, but it's
mhm.
very good numbers in a few years.
Yeah. Half is when it comes to fatal accidents, I guess it's good. Okay, here's a different kind of chart. This is called Mustafa. Do you know what kind of chart this is?
No, I forgot. I forgot really.
It's called a bar chart. Okay.
Bar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a bar chart. Okay, can you briefly describe what the? Okay.
This chart is talking about like the related. It's related between like the work stress and the period of time. Like you see, like in the previous 3 years, in maybe 1990, there was a little less stress in work than in 2002. Like we see, like the work become more stressful in the recent year. So there's like an increase in stress.
Okay. How do they measure the stress? I don't know the answer to this question I'm asking you. How do you think they measure the stress?
Um, it's really interesting question because the fatal accident is decreased at the same time. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Anybody, Ken or Javier, how do you think they're talking about these measurements, but they're not saying the how these are being measured? Do you guys have any idea or guesses? Just a guess.
Maybe one kind of research for this kind of thing, and interview the people or questionnaire
Yeah.
among
Yeah.
employees.
That would be my guess, but I don't know. So doesn't that kind of depend on what their questions are? Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well, Ken, what do you think of this chart? Is this these charts? How do they relate to Japan? Are there less workplace deaths? Is there more stress? What do you
I
think?
think Japan is always high. Japanese companies are requirement are crazy. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So, but one good thing was company promised a long life employment in the past, but such long term kind of permanent employment system was collapsed. So nowadays, 40% people became temporary workers. So I think that causes more stress because
Ah,
company
okay.
doesn't have to be responsible for that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard some stories about Japanese workers doing crazy things, especially at airports, like airport control. I had a student who was in the airport traffic control
Yeah,
person. Boy, did she have stories. A Japanese woman who did air traffic control. What a stressful job.
I think so.
Yeah, scary stories.
And
Anyway, yeah.
okay, go ahead. It's a time.
Yeah, we're out of time, but okay. It's time to switch gears, as Mustafa says. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. See you next time. Bye for now.